to go to the private one. So, for example, my friends, they went to that private, law school. Cost twice as much. Now, most law schools are expensive no matter where you go, but they paid a lot, to go there. And so do your research, find the best options. Ask about TA position or scholarships they offer. I think that's important. If you decide that you want to go into the education field, you're going to have a lot more options on what you can do. I mean, for example, when you're working on your master's in teaching, sometimes there's actually Pell still available. Only for teachers, surprisingly, but for teachers. And then they also, most schools have some type of reimbursement, that they do. Some districts are better than others. Carthage is really good, about paying a good chunk of your graduate, studies. Also, if you work, for a school district for X amount of years, sometimes they help pay it back. Like earlier, I was telling you about my wife. She got $5,000, applied to her loans, for working in a school district that was low income for 5 years. And so now she had borrowed around $10,000 when she, a little over $10,000 when she graduated as an undergrad. And then, it was, I remember our payment was $74 a month. That was what her payment was every month. And we had paid it for years. And then once she worked there for a while, she was only at $5,000 left, right? Or it was actually $4,900. So the rest of that money that the school gave us paid off our loans. And so it was nice. And so, but every school district is different, so you should always check into what do they offer. Or you may be at a specific company, that helps pay back, or helps pay tuition as well. So you should look at that. Or maybe you decide that, while I'm going to grad school, I'm going to work for a company that helps pay. Maybe you go out of your way to work for a company that's going to help you. Walmart is a great place to think about. They offer a lot of different types of scholarships, and they can help pay for some of that. Maybe you don't really want to work at Walmart, but you're willing to work there while you're in graduate school. So not only do you get a salary or get paid, they also will help reimburse some of that college expense. That's a possible option. And then of course, loans at the last resort. I want to show you one thing before we go, just to kind of show you an example here. Let's see. Okay, so this website, it's Peterson's. This was, oh, it's not even showing there. I don't know. Let me get out of this. Okay, click on that. Click here. There we go. Okay, so this website here is Peterson's. This is a database that has all types of scholarships, not only just for graduate students, but also undergrad. So this may be something to be looking at now. You go in here to your search engine, you type whatever you want. And I'm just, for argument's sake, I'm going to put in social work. They have a new social work program here, so it's been pretty popular here lately. So we'll see what happens. Come on. Well, you'd think it'd be working. Hit the button. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But these are just some of the scholarships that they do. Like every time you get on there, they have some just kind of like popular scholarships that they post. Just normally it's deadlines that are approaching, so they have those. But when you go to the search engine, you just type whatever you want, a particular area, and then it'll pop up whatever scholarships they have related to that area. And now everyone has their own requirements. The good thing is that they're always going to tell you when the deadline is, when you have to actually have it in by. Now, most of these scholarships, you tend to have to write essays. That's the big thing, and that's why I say it's good to start early on these. And you can actually write some of these essays. You write enough of them, the different scholarships, you can kind of have a general template on how you can write them, and then you can change some things as you go. I would invest a lot of time towards applying for these. Now, most students will say, oh, there's no way I'm going to get it. Why bother? But what happens if you do? You apply. Let's say you apply for 20 different scholarships. It only takes one. It only takes one of those scholarships to actually make a difference. And so that's why I say it's worth the time and effort, in addition to when you go to grad school, to be, applying for these independent scholarships out there. Because ask yourself this, if, you have that mentality, oh, there's no way I'm going to do it, so why should I apply? You can imagine there are going to be other students like that, and then not a lot of people end up applying for it. That's something that we face here at this college with foundation scholarships. They've actually extended deadlines for you to get it in. They normally want you to have it in by March 1st. They extended it, almost every year they extend it because not enough students apply. And it's all that money that's out there, and they have to extend it longer because they're just not getting students to apply for those foundation scholarships. And so now, hey, you might not get one, but if there's even a remote chance that you could, why not? And so this is one website that you can, you can go to. Even though when I was trying to click on it, it wouldn't let me do the search engine. Another one, right below this, is that FastWeb. That's a very popular one that you can also go to. And how many have heard of FastWeb? FastWeb is a pretty common one out there. And so this is another place that you can go and look for scholarships. And so it's doing the research, the time and effort. And also remember that, let's say you're applying for one of these scholarships, but you're just not really sure on writing the letter. You could always come to us and we'll help you. We'll help you write that letter, for you. We'll help you. We'll sit down with you. We'll look at the criteria. We'll look at some of the things that you need to write. We'll proofread it for you. That's what we're here for. So we can sit down with you and work on those papers, with you. And so questions about anything that we've covered. At the end of the day, what can we take away? You've got to put the time and effort into it. It's money, and so it should be worth doing that. And always ask questions. Go visit some of these graduate schools. I can tell you, before I transferred, even with my associates, I went and I looked at the university that I was going to go to. I did the same thing, when I was looking at OU. I wanted to make sure I go there, talk to the people, see if you get a good vibe. Because you may go there and they may not want to answer any of your questions. And if that happens, what should you do? Should you go there if they're not helpful, they're not willing to ask any questions? Because chances are, if they're rude to you, your first visit going up there, and they're not being very helpful, do you think that's going to change? Probably not. And so, you really want to get a good feel and a vibe for the college itself. Because you will see warning flags if you go there and they're not willing to help you at all. It just means that you need to have some other options. But I would say always apply to about 3 colleges. So that way you have some options. And depending on your field, it may be very competitive. So you may want to apply to 3 places because you might not get into one of them or 2 of them, but you get into that other one. So have options. Because what happens if you say, I only will go to this college. It's the only place I'm going to go to. That's been my dream my entire life, and I have to go there. And you only apply to that one place. What happens if you don't get in? Then what do you do?
Get a job.
Yeah. So it gets hard, so you want to have options, because I've seen some students actually do that. They are set on that one college, and then they didn't get in. And then they're just like, now what? What do I do now? They didn't have a plan for after. Now, if they were willing to apply to maybe 2, 3 different colleges, they could have backup. Normally what ends up happening, they have to work a year, and then they apply again, and they do that. Or maybe they go back to school, try to get some more hours in a specific area, and then try and apply. Or they get work experience in that area and then apply. It's just a lot more work that they have to do. And I say, have options. And you have to ask yourself, what if you want to go to a very specific area, but they don't offer it in this area? Are you willing to move? And that's something you have to look at. Some students are not willing to move. And so, but if it's only one specific area, you have to ask them, am I willing to do that? I was willing to relocate. Whatever I needed to do, that's what I was going to do. And I would say you need to ask yourself those questions, because there are some programs, they only offer at a handful of colleges. So you've got to ask yourself, am I willing to move out of the state? Can I, move out of the state? And so ask those questions now before you get too far along, in your program. So questions. That's all I've got for you. Fill out the evaluation form, and that'll be it.